Hey guys, it's Phil Granger. Don't forget to tune in to Don't Go Out There podcast.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, guys, jumping to the film review. We're continuing on with Mike's Thriller Month, and it's my choice this week. We changed our picks around just to Mike, so that Mike could have his pick be on his birthday week, which is very cool. I chose 2014's Nightcrawler. It's been on my list for a while. Ever since I saw the movie, I was a big fan. Like, Jake Gyllenhaal just gives such a good impression, or such a good acting performance. And I'm just going to go ahead and say this now. These are the type of movies that have something to say, political-esque messages in the movie that I really like and appreciate. They don't shove anything down your throat or anything like that, but they really, if you pull the layers back of the movie, like we said, it touches on a lot of things like capitalism, doing whatever it takes to get famous, make money, not caring about your employees, et cetera, sacrificing your morals to make money. Not only Jake, but the news host as well. She's very much just as guilty as old Lou Bloom at the end of it. But I think the movie is exceptional. I really like it a lot. Brian, what are your thoughts?
So I actually saw this in the theater back in 2014 during my little 2-year stint where me and my then girlfriend, which is my wife now, but we were seeing movies like every other day. Like it came out on Halloween, but I think we went the following night. You know what? I sure could have used a monthly pass back then. Spent a lot of money. But regardless, I saw this, and it was the only time that I'd watched this movie up to this point, and I distinctly remember that, this movie stuck with me for days. Like, it definitely was a psychological thriller that lived up to the name. Gyllenhaal's performance as this literal psychopath is, to me, right there with Christian Bale in American Psycho. Like, he's so damn good in this, again, disturbing to me. So I'll be giving this movie a very high score.
Similar story here, Brian. I went and saw this in the theater when it came out, and then I hadn't seen it since. And it's not because I didn't want to. I just hadn't got around to watching it. It's not what I would call a leisure, like a leisure activity movie that you just throw on. You got to really pay attention and watch it for the performances. And, funny story, actually, I got in I'll call it a spat, verbal spat with my girlfriend at the time before we were supposed to go see this movie. And I actually said, fuck you, I'll go see this movie by myself. And so then I did. We're not together anymore, and I don't blame her. Anyway, I won't get into the dirty details there. So I'm happily married. So this rewatch was the first time I'd seen it since that time going to the movies. And I forgot how great Gyllenhaal is in this movie, man. This is a delivery of a lifetime to me. Like, he plays these creepy characters, these creepy psychotic characters really, really well. He's played he's in the Zodiac movie. Like he does these other, like, these kind of characters so well, but this is a great performance. And honestly, yes, there are other characters in this movie, but not really, right? Like, this is almost one of those solo performances by Will Smith, like, like Will Smith, I Am Legend. Like, yeah, there are other people in the movie, but not really. It's really Will Smith and a dog, right? And in this one, I feel like Jake's, there are other characters he interacts with, in the newsroom, and but he's, in his little, buddy Rick there. But outside of that, it's really just Lou, and it's awesome. It is creepy, and I put it in my notes. Really makes you question, and maybe Nico felt the same way because we're both kind of true crime people. Really made me question if I want to dip my toe back into that genre very often. Like I had forgotten what it, like, being totally serious. Like, am I contributing to this kind of thing where, I felt so uneasy watching the scene in the house, and we'll get to it. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is so invasive and so eerie. Great performance. I think the movie shot really well. Again, I got nothing but flowers for this movie. Great pick, Nico.
Yeah, so I watched this movie on Prime through the Starz subscription, and I'm not sure if it's listed like this everywhere, but at the top of the screen when you hit play, it says it's rated R, and then the reasons it's rated R. It says it's rated R for violence and alcohol use. But before those two things, the first thing listed was flashing lights. Since when is that a no-no? We can't, come on. The MPAA must be stopped. Anyway, I'd never seen this movie. And I'll be honest, I never would have if Nico didn't pick it, because I somehow had never heard of it. I didn't know this movie existed until we did this review. I think it's very solid. Jake Gyllenhaal is great in it. And it has Lynn from Major League, a.k.a. Natasha from The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, a.k.a. Renee Russo. I think she's really good in it. The concept's really interesting to me, and the movie kept me engaged throughout. So, yeah, I liked it.
Really quick, this movie is meme and GIF heaven. Like, there's so many internet memes and GIFs from this movie. So, if you're wondering where some of the Jake Gyllenhaal things come from, it's this movie in particular. And, my memory's kind of shit, but I remember my first time seeing this movie all too well. Go ahead, Nico. Right here.
Second recording in a row that we got a Taylor Swift nod on Mike.
Oh, yep.
Oh, you're the only one that picked up on it. Great.
I didn't get that one.
All too well. And Tim McGraw on the last episode. But anyway, let's get into the scene by scene.
I did do that.
Got a lot. The film starts with title card and opening credits as we get scenic shots of Los Angeles at night. We meet Lou Bloom, who is cutting down chain link fence to steal and scrap until a security guard pulls up. Lou smiles, fibbing that he's lost. He gets his ID, spots a watch he likes, then attacks, and I'm assuming he kills the security guard. He's at the scrapyard bargaining with the foreman over pricing. The foreman isn't budging, bringing up the cops asking about the product he's been bringing them. Lou now asks for a job, pitching himself, and kind of glazes the foreman. He's told he isn't hiring a thief, and Lou leaves. Lou drives away and notices a crash site and pulls over. He walks up to the scene as Joe Loader and his video crew run up filming what's happened. Lou is intrigued with this as he watches on. Lou asks Joe questions about what he does, how much he's paid, where it's shown, and asks if he's hiring. Joe hears another radio and his crew takes off to the next story. Lou is sewing up some of his clothes as he turns the news on, hearing of a lottery winner, but he flips through the other stations looking for the story he witnessed last night. Lou is on the boardwalk, posted up, waiting on a biker to station his bike. Lou goes into action, swiftly stealing the bike and immediately takes it to a pawn shop. He gets a low offer, but keeps telling the broker all the specs and continues bargaining. He now asks for $800 in store credit instead for a camcorder and a police scanner. That evening, Lou is listening to the scanner and takes off on a call. He pulls up very unprofessionally and starts filming, not sure of what the situation is. It happens again and he's forced away by the officer. He makes it to another scene and begins filming. He gets really close to the firefighters and is pushed away. The other cameraman snaps on him and gets on a phone call negotiating his video as Lou follows him listening on. Bro snaps on Lou saying to get out of here, slamming the car door. All right, Bryce, opening set of scenes, what'd you think?
So first off, let me get this out of the way. This is the directorial debut from Dan Gilroy, who is actually married to Renee Russo, which I did not know, still is since 1992. No stranger to our show, though. He's the writer on Kong, Skull Island, also wrote Born Legacy, love it, and this one, of course. And I just want to say, I think the same thing Mike just said, like this is shot beautifully. So credit Gilroy there, but Also, cinematographer Robert Elswit, who is, coincidentally, Jake Gyllenhaal's godfather. So, but the camera work and shot selection of this movie is one of the most memorable of any I've ever seen, and I'm not exaggerating. And I know we've slobbed all over Gyllenhaal's knob more than Heath Ledger did, but let's just talk a little bit more about his performance from a nuanced point of view here. Apparently, he tapped into his Donnie Darko performance review, don'tgooutthere.com, by the way. But like he uses a character trait there, he also does not blink while on camera to give you more of that disturbing performance. He also worked with Gilroy to make it a point for Lou Bloom to not really have any sort of like character arc, because they felt like Lou would have been like he would have been a certain type of person and stay that way as an adult, which is why we assault a security guard right off the bat. But, Gilroy was quoted as saying that it was important that the audience not feel Lou became a worse person because of his work as a Nightcrawler, but instead recognized he was malevolent from the start. So, last thing, it's kind of crazy, like the whole Nightcrawler paparazzi thing, like very of its time, right? Because, my entire life, paparazzi was part of, shots in magazines or Princess Diana's death. Very forefront in pop culture. But I didn't think about this until watching this movie this time. Like, it's kind of a dying profession, right? Like, with social media and the way things are now, and magazines and TMZ and all that kind of going away and dying out a little bit, kind of wild to think that that's not really as big of a part of the zeitgeist anymore as it once was. But anyway, great to see Bill Paxton again, though. Been a while since I watched a movie with him in it. I think rewatch of Twister before the sequel came out, I think was the last time I saw anything new. Rest in peace. One of my all-time favorite actors. Go listen to our interview with Granger Phillips. His friendship with Bill was basically the gist of that interview. But great open, though.
Yeah, I love the opening for some reason. Like that, like Cali backdrop, I guess. Or, it looks like the Santa Monica Pier and stuff, which I've been through the music. I really like that open. It kind of put us in location, which is where we're supposed to be. We've already hyped up Jake Gyllenhaal enough, but he really is great at playing this kind of character. He's stoic but creepy, moves in his own way. And again, he's also witty, which again is very American Psycho-esque, but not quite so volume turned up. I really like the way that Jake Gyllenhaal plays his character. It's an insane moment, but Nico kind of touched on it in his open. They focus way more on filming this horrific event than saving this woman from worrying about her health, like to get the shot, anything to get the shot. I know that's his job, but his job fucking sucks. So there you go. I forgot that Bill Paxton was in this movie before doing the prep. I'm like, oh yeah, he's in this movie. Great. Smaller role for Bill though, right? He has an important part, but like he's not in it a ton. It's not like a big, his character is a focal point, but not a major one. But like I mentioned, it's kind of a Jake Gyllenhaal movie more than anybody else. So is it implied here that our man Lou is stealing Satellite? That's how the rich stay rich. I'm sure that's what some of you rich guys on this show do. Lou's lack of social awareness is something, I would definitely assume that our man Lou is on the spectrum somewhere, correct? He got hit with a little bit or a lot of bit of autism, I would say. So, he's got no social awareness at all. Side note, this has nothing to do with this movie, but I fucking hate pawn shops. I do. I hate pawn shops. Bunch of crooks ripping people off. They're worse than GameStop, buddy. They're freaking $800 store credit. That's what you're willing to sell this bike for? No, man. You came down like a total of $600 just to get some shitty JVC camcorder? Go fuck yourself, man. Anyway, I love, again, lack of social awareness, but also not really. It's very calculated that he thinks he can come in and film anything he wants just because he has a camcorder. Like, that is not just lack of social awareness. That's intentional, right? Like, if I'm going to be the part, I got to act the part, right? And so faking it till you make it is kind of the whole point of the early on part of this movie, in my opinion, where I don't think, he's only doing what he thinks he's supposed to do, but it's very intentional. It's very, it makes my skin crawl. It's a good way to hook me early. This movie being pretty mysterious with where it is going to go. So I thought it was a good opening set of scenes as well.
My man is mad at the pawn shop when the bike was stolen.
Yeah, pretty wild open. He steals some chain link, kills a guy, presumably. I'm glad you said that, Deco, because I took it as he killed him too. When I was looking up like trivia and fun facts for later, it's implied that he only beat the guy up, but I'm not buying that, because you beat a guy up and take his watch that you've done business with, he's going to know you. Like, he's going to know at least your name probably. But anyway, and steals his watch. Wasted no time here getting started. I will say though, scrapyards won't take chain link fence, and they definitely won't take manhole covers, because then manhole covers will be missing everywhere. So not buying that. He's an odd cat though. The way he talks about the guy at the scrapyard talks to him about wanting a job, big time school shooter vibes. Whatever you tell me he does in this movie, I believe it. Because at this point, I don't know. I'd never seen it. You're getting first time watch, first time notes, as Mike likes to say. I did them on the fly. One critique that I have about the crash scene, I don't know if you've ever seen a car on fire, but those flames were not accurate. Cars on fire burn at a very different color. The flames are too white here. I love the scene transition from the guy locking up his bike and then immediately cutting to the pawn shop. That was well done. Like, we didn't need to see him steal it. He just did it. Buddy's loose cannon almost ran over the suspect when he arrived at his first crime scene. All of those scenes play out, or as these scenes play out, I love that he's still wearing the watch. Great attention to detail there. Good stuff with him following the other camera guy, getting the details like that. Very easy way for him to get in the loop. And it's a decent enough open. I'm invested.
Lou is at Channel 6 KWLA and meets Nina, the station manager. He introducing himself saying he has footage to sell. She asks what footage he has, and he describes the shooting, and she asks to see it. They get to the victim, and Frank is called in to view the footage. Nina tells him what she wants shown to Frank and gives Lou his money and some constructive criticism. She tells him they like crime, but not all crime. The more graphic, the better. Lou tells her he's a quick learner and she'll see him again. 6 a.m. and Lou is watching the news and he sees his footage on the air. Lou logs his video information and begins looking up Los Angeles police codes and writes them down. He irons his clothes and enjoys some fine medieval television. He's at a diner and interviews Rick for a job. Lou asks Rick about his previous employment and what he learned. His resume isn't impressive, and Lou asks why hire you and to sell yourself. Rick says he's a high school graduate, needs a job, has a driver's license, and knows Los Angeles. He tells Lou the job sounds cool and he's hired. He hears it's an internship but desperately says he needs money. He's got to get paid something. Lou counters at $30 a night and Rick accepts. And how you make it on $30 a night in Los Angeles? Godspeed, brother. The two are listening to the radio and Lou quizzes him on the codes. Lou laughs at Rick saying we want victims, but better quality victims. The night grows long until Lou hears about a structure fire on the radio. He takes off fast as fuck, boy, terrifying Rick with his driving. Lou keeps yelling at him to talk to him, but Rick makes a mistake. They missed their turn 5 blocks ago. They make it to the scene and Joe tells them they're too late and jokes on his camera. Lou snaps on Rick saying he wasted $5 gas and says don't bring him a problem, but bring solutions. He says communication is key and they're heading to another scene. Lou hops out and begins filming and Rick asks Rick to go park the car. Lou interviews people, but the lady cusses and she refuses to redo the quote. Lou overhears him say it's over. Place was shot to shit. He records the family talking to police and he sneaks around the scene and goes into the house. He turns the light off and gets footage from inside. He's at Channel 6 and Nina loves the footage. Frank isn't thrilled with the footage and is very concerned. Nina tells him off and says we're running it. Lou and Nina chat and Lou says he doesn't have much formal education. He's more self-taught. He tells her television news is something he loves and is good at, and she smiles proudly at him. She shakes his hand saying his work is outstanding and his check is at the desk. He sits at the news desk as we see him on the camera. All right, Brian's the next set of scenes. What do you think?
So, yeah, I mean, this entire open with the Lou meeting Russo's Nina, I mean, seriously, like, I forgot I was taking notes. Like, this scene, I thought was absolute masterclass from everyone involved. You know that old show, The West Wing, where it's just, like, so quick, and there was, like, no really time to get bored or anything? It just felt real, you know, as does, honestly, this entire movie, which is why I think it resonates with me so much. Just an amazing scene. I can't really express that enough. Little fun fact, when Rick meets Lou here for the job interview at the diner, that's the same diner used in the film Drive from 2011 with Gosling and just a loaded cast. But this is also another scene where I think the interaction is just so great. Like Riz Ahmed, who plays Rick, does just so perfectly. And again, just the realism of the scene there. The last thing I want to point out, Mike, The music cues in this movie, I think, are very, I don't know, I guess unique is the word. Like every time Lou makes some sort of like achievement, like when he decides to go into the victim's house here, you get that music cue that almost seems out of place, but it really isn't. Like I read where they're supposed to represent, quote, music cues in Lou's head, but I don't really understand that. Like, are there revelations sort of, or I don't know. I don't know if that's the right word. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Does this make any sense to you?
Again, small nitpick, but like, they kind of roll this man in, or he walks into this news station, excuse me, and how does no one know that he doesn't work there? Like, I mean, the way he's greeted and the way he's kind of shown, it's like, yeah, I don't fucking work here, man. Anyway, it's not like he's doing this at NBC. This is a fledgling local station which, by the way, as it is revealed later on in the movie, he knew that shit from the beginning. So, thought that was interesting. Nina is exactly what a TV executive is like, though. They will do and show anything for a rating bump. And I understand it. That's her job, but it's also gross. There's no way around it. Like anything to get that hit, to kind of get that bump. Now, I'm not talking about cocaine either. I'm talking about ratings. Again, but they have this conversation, and it's great. You mentioned how great their interaction is, Brian, but I love that she has no idea what she has said to him and how it's triggering in his brain, how he's taking it, how he's about to use her little bit of kindness, for lack of a better term, and run with it. I love how Gyllenhaal reacts to how she reacts. I think it's great. Again, he took that one interaction, though, and then decided to go hire somebody to help him do this video production. I think it was great. That's how egotistical he is. He's acting like he has his own business, which I go back to faking it till you make it. If I'm going to be it, I got to at least act like it. So I think that's nice, very realistic for his character. I will say, just me personally, don't know about y'all. I wouldn't do this job for $30 a night. Kiss my ass. We're working too late. I like my sleep, even if I was homeless, like Rick here. I don't know. Maybe it would be exciting to have a little bit of money coming in, but I don't know, man. I don't think that Lou has the charisma to convince me to do this shit. How sometimes a psychopath or a sociopath has like this oozing charisma where they can turn on that charm. I don't think Lou has that. He gives off fucking creepy, weird vibes to me. He's not convincing me to do shit but run away. I will say the fact that he has this man bun, and shout out to my cousin Vinny, their man buns match. In this scene, I'm like, damn it, from behind or the side that looks like cousin Vinny. So that's fucking funny. And I know he's going to listen to this episode because he really likes this movie. So he'll get to hear that, and that'll be funny. But last little bit that I have, what he's doing is so creepy and disturbing on a completely different level. We cover all kinds of killers and all kinds of crazy stuff on this show, and he's one of the worst kinds of people that we've covered. Full stop. He is invasive, and it doesn't mean a damn thing to him. He knows what he's doing is offensive to all the senses, but it's not offensive to him, and he doesn't care. And again, it's just so invasive on people's privacy. The whole thing is gross, and God, it makes my skin crawl when I think about it for too long. Just imagine turning on that TV, and this is before we get to the major invasiveness here in a couple sets of scenes. But imagine turning on that TV and seeing that fridge. Like if that were your fridge, how the fuck did this guy get in my house? Like that is so unnerving and so creepy. I thought it was really, really well done. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, when he takes the footage to the news station, I laughed when they started looking at what he had, and it had him awkwardly and all nerdy inside and in front of his car. Like, what a goober. That did a great job of showing how green and unprofessional he was at this point. When Nina told him they're mostly interested in well-off whites victimized by minorities, yeah, that tracks. The media loves contributing to stereotypes and racial tensions. No shot the news would show a dead victim uncensored like that, though. Disclaimer or not, it just wouldn't happen. The job interview with Rick, that was a wild one. One, he can't afford to pay anyone. Now, this guy is struggling. I know he just made $250 on that one video, but that's not a guarantee thing. Two, zero shot, I would answer interview questions with no idea what the job even was. And three, he asked Rick if he tricked. See ya, pal. No, I'm out of here. Lou's convincing, though. He seems like a douchey boss in the interview. Rick made a catastrophic mistake on his first night, though. Not only did he give bad directions, but when he talked back to Lou, I expected him to become a victim that night. I really start to like the concept here, though. Lou's just trying to make a living, and he's hustling. Like, it's very interesting. It feels real, like a guy who's got a taste of, okay, this is how I can make it. Now he's grinding, like he's doing everything he can to make it happen. When he went into the house, that was bold. But in his defense, there wasn't any police tape blocking it that I saw. And him rearranging the pictures on the fridge to get a more dramatic look, that was a nice touch. It shows that he knows what's going to sell. I like the conversation that Lou has with Nina at the end of the set of scenes. Gyllenhaal does a great job playing this guy. We're rolling along.
Yeah, 6 a.m. news plays and Lou watches on at his footage. He logs a tape on his computer as an up-tempo rock synth score plays with Lou and Rick chasing calls and logging them. We see Lou has an upgraded ride, a slick Dodge Challenger SRT, but he scolds Rick for getting fuel on the paint after complimenting his good work. Lou ignores Rick's Bed Bath & Beyond spill and runs a red light chasing after a car crash in a wealthy neighborhood. The person on scene snaps on him and Lou takes off to record footage of the vehicles. He sets the camera down and drags the victim over to a better spot for better footage. The police arrive and Lou walks away from the scene. He smoothly walks past Joe, who is upset he got there first. Lou tells Nina he's working on framing to get a better shot, and she notices blood on his shirt. He asks her out on a Mexican dinner date, and she tells him she doesn't date people she works with, and she's twice his age. He teases the idea she's fucking their relationship up if she refuses to go. Joe stops Lou exiting the station and they begin chatting. Joe says you shouldn't be dropping footage off, just send it out. Joe wants Lou to run a second van for his business and lays it thick on him. Lou refuses, wanting to work for himself though. Lou walks away to do some accounting as Joe gives him a fuck you twerk. Lou and Nina are at dinner now, and this is probably my favorite scene of the movie. This is wild as hell. And Lou begins reciting compliments to her like it's on his to-do list. They begin small talk where they're from, and Lou tells her he wants a relationship, and she tells him, I hope you find someone. Lou basically says he wants Nina, and she says this day is only a professional courtesy. He now tells her he's brought up her rating books and spits off news statistics. He pitches his videos are valuable to her and will be very essential to next month's rating sweeps. She gets fired up, and now Lou says he wants an intimate relationship with her, just like she wants her job and health insurance. He tells her she's the vampire shift manager of the lowest rated news station, and she must be invested in this relationship. Lou tells her she can leave if there's nothing to talk about. She makes her pitch now to get him more money and a job at the station. Lou tells her he knows she hasn't been at one station for more than 2 years, and that's coming up. Lou wants to fuck her and be her friend in exchange for his footage. Nina is speechless as Lou puts on a shit-eating grin. All right, Brian, so next set of scenes, what do you think?
Yeah, it is wild. This montage at the beginning of the set of scenes kind of what I'm about to say resonate a little bit more with me. Because like we've said a lot about a lot of different things from, the atmosphere to the music in the past, I think that the city of Los Angeles here plays such a huge part in this. Like, it's definitely its own character. And again, all credit to Gilroy and the way that this is all shot. Absolutely stand out in my opinion. Hell, even in the montage, there's a little aspect ratio change for just a few frames showing how it's cut for TV. Oh, that was a brilliant touch. Another thought I had is this, well, first of all, is this a Dodge Charger or a Dodge Challenger? I can't remember.
Challenger.
This is a Challenger? Okay. Well, the first thing I thought was, God damn. And I was like, I wonder if my guy Rick is still making $30 per night. And another little fun fact, apparently, though, Riz is he was unfamiliar with Bed Bath & Beyond and pronounced it like super oddly at the red light, stop at the timestamp 39:54. Someone corrected him. And every take apparently that he did after that, the right way, wasn't, quote, nearly as good. So they stuck with the first take here. So that's why he pronounces it weirdly. I will say, as good as this movie has been and is, this at the restaurant felt like if you don't like the runtime, that this would be kind of part of it. Like, it went 7 minutes, I think I wrote. And honestly, it was just, I would get that complaint. Great acting, though. Great back and forth between two absolute juggernauts of the industry. Honestly, really good insight into how crazy Lou really is, trying to blackmail her. If I was editing this movie, I wouldn't have cut it. That's how damn good it is. I can say it probably ran a little long and also not give a shit. The insight I thought into Lou's mind was just invaluable to me. Go ahead, Mike.
I did think it was, at first, I'm like, this is kind of an odd placing for a montage. But then I'm like, no, I fucking love this montage. It's like a little mini, like, oh, this is what he's up to now that he can kind of hit the ground running, like Dustin mentioned in the last set of scenes where it's kind of grinding away. It's realistic. And now he's fucking hit the ground running. And all I could think of was a montage set to music. That episode of South Park where they're at the ski lodge. Gonna be a montage. Anyway, I actually really like it. The music works, and it is a bit of an exposition dump. It kind of lets us know that his video production company is up and running now. So I did like that. And on one hand, what he's doing is revolutionary. He's really, really getting up in people's fucking business. And on the other hand, I'm pissed off while I watch it because, again, this is so unethical. God, it just makes me sick to think about someone doing it for real. And like we've talked about, the movie is shot in a way where it's very realistic while you're watching it. And so, and you do know, because we know there are people like this, and that, this is where I start to, like I mentioned in my open, and it's okay if Nico didn't feel the same way, but how much more true crime do I really want to involve myself? It's kind of the same thing without having a camera like up in their business, but like sometimes those people's stories, they don't want them to be told, and a true crime podcaster will do it anyway. And that's kind of where my man, am I contributing to this? But anyway, it is absolutely insane that he beat the police to this crime. Like, this man was doing the most Nightcrawler, and that's insane. So like, look, I would tell, sorry if you hear my dogs, I would tell Joe to fuck off too, especially with, how he treated him, and you realize that, he can make way more on his own. So as much as I like Bill Paxton, his character's kind of a twerp. He wanted to brush him off in the beginning, and now, he wants to kind of bring him in. Nah, man, go fuck yourself. I can do this by myself. I don't need nobody else. My dogs are annoying. I really like this interaction, though, because it's starting to show Lou's darkest side. Like, he is really turned over here to just being evil. My man drops a line on Nina that he likes the way she smells. If that's not a tip off, I don't know what is, buddy. That is some great stuff, and it's a great scene. This dinner date is so awkward, but I love it. It's where Lou goes from this kind of like awkward loser, honestly, loner, to a stone cold psychopath that knows exactly what he's doing, and he's known this whole time. He just needed an in. And maybe sociopath is more applicable, right? But again, it's a great scene. The line, he basically runs her down. It's funny to watch the power dynamic in their relationship flip at this table, where as opposed to where Lou was using her in the beginning, now Nina needs him. And he points that out. You're on a fledgling station. You can't hold down a job. I have something you need. Let's make the best of this. Oh, by the way, I want to fuck you. And you're going to do that. Like that is a power dynamic of sick proportions, buddy. It is, whatever he says here at this dinner works. She started the dinner as the badass news lady, and she left it with her tail tucked. So again, power dynamic, crazy flip at the table. Thought it was an excellent scene.
Yeah, solid montage to open this set of scenes. Really well done, and the score is frantic and adrenaline pumping. Really well done. Man is busting his tail on the trail. He's got all kinds of stories now, and he rewarded himself. Nice car. Even nicer of Nico to lend it to the filmmakers. My first thought, like you, Brian, was I hope Rick's getting more than $30 a day now. We, of course, find out that he wasn't, which is wild. Him moving the body at the crash just to get the desired shot was something else, man. What a lunatic. And also, you can't tamper with the crime scene or with the crash scene. Like, that's illegal. Bill Paxton, normally great. But I'm not crazy about him in this one. I don't like his character. The way it's written is just too convenient or something. Hey, you want to work for me? No. Well, I'll cuss you out and insult you. I don't know. I just didn't really care for his character in this movie. Seeing that Nina agreed to go to dinner with him was mind-blowing. Like, he's so creepy. He's a quintessential incel. No. Then he tried to manipulate her in strong armor. This guy's a threat to humanity. Onward we go.
Yeah, Lou was something else. Scenic shots of L.A. and we're back in the car with Lou and Rick. He scolds Rick for him not reading the traffic memo, and Rick brings up not getting a raise yet. Lou says he has no leverage for more salary, and they reroute to another call. Lou shows up and is denied access. He's late, and Joe rubs it in that he got there first, and his other van is getting the other call. Lou is fuming and makes the walk of shame to Nina with his lackluster footage. Nina asks about the plane crash, and he has no footage of it. Nina is pissed and tells him to get in the game and get what he promised her. She storms away, and Lou sits there like a mad toddler. The plane crash footage plays, and Lou snaps, smashing his bathroom mirror, screaming. We see Lou emerge from under Joe's van and walk away. That night, Lou is driving to another scene and scolds Rick again for a poor route choice. He makes a sketchy pass, and Rick realizes that's the Mayhem van that's crashed. Lou gets footage as Rick runs up with a second camera. Rick wonders how they ran into a pole and says, "You don't film that, Lou. Joe is one of them." Joe gives Lou a ghastly stare, realizing he's the one who probably tampered with his van. Lou is back in the streets as they hear of an armed home invasion nearby. Lou stops outside and grabs the camera running up the driveway. Gunshots, and Lou cuts the light to his camera. He sees the men running out the house and then drive away. Lou goes into the home now, finding guns on the ground, a dead person on the couch, and proceeds upstairs following bloody footprints. He hears a baby crib toy go off, but thankfully no dead baby. Lou finds a dead woman on the bed and gets more quick footage through the home, stumbling upon another man dead on the kitchen floor. Rick arrives asking what happened, and Lou scolds him again for not having more initiative, and he should have gone in if he wanted to see. What a fucking dickhead. They get in the car and speed away as the police arrive. Lou pulls over and tells Rick to stay in the car. He fires up the laptop and reviews the footage. He's overwhelmed seeing what he got and arrives at KWLA. Nina is pissed he avoided her calls, and he says he has the footage of the triple homicide, and he held out to increase his bargaining and leverage. They review the tape, and Nina loves it while Frank is disgusted. Linda says it's not illegal to air and it's time to negotiate. Lou starts high at $100,000, and Nina rebuttals with a meager $3,000 offer. Lou refuses and says $15,000 is his lowest offer. Lou walks away from 10 and says Channel 7 will pay more. She stops him and offers 12, saying she can't spend a month's budget on one video. Lou says, what if this isn't the end of the story? Lou says $15,000 isn't all he wants and says the other things he wants from her and from the station. He also says no more negotiating over prices. His bottom dollar is the bottom dollar. He also wants what he wants from her sexually at her apartment. Lou, the nice guy he is, throws in the footage of Joe and Mayhem's van wreck for free. Go ahead, Brian's next set of scenes.
Yeah. Wow. But Russo just fucking killed it at the start of this, where Nina goes off on Lou for not getting the plane crashed. Then we get this brilliant shot of Lou screaming at himself in the mirror. And actually, for that scene, Gyllenhaal got so into this, by the way, improvised scene, that the mirror broke, cutting his hand. He was driven to the hospital by the director after a 19-hour day of working, and then got 46 stitches in a 4-hour-long operation, then returned to the set a few hours after being discharged. That's some Nico Chin hurricane hours right there, man. That's crazy. But this is the reason why in the open that Gyllenhaal had his hand behind his back in that scene where he's talking to the scrapyard owner. I obviously shot after this, but man, that shot of Lou when Bill Paxton is being carried off in the gurney and he sees Lou's camera and then it pans to Gyllenhaal's face with that music cue. Whew, that would give me chills. And I'm not sure what he did to Bill's van. I don't know if he cut the brakes. I mean, that can't be right because I don't know. But whatever he did fucking worked out perfectly. Speaking of chills, that entire home invasion scene, my blood pressure was rushing watching that because, the police are on the way and I know this dude doesn't think logically, but how do you explain that footage? Damn. But regardless, very, very tense scene. Fantastically done.
Yeah, so my starting advice here for Mr. Lou is pay your fucking employee, brother. He's the only one you got, and now you're making a little bit more money. You can manage to divvy up a little more than $30 a night. Kiss the fattest part of my ass. I will say that dinner scene being so great makes it even sweeter when him, fucking up getting this footage and the footage sucks, makes it so much better that she shifts the power dynamic back her way. Hey, motherfucker, if you want all this stuff that you just bargained for, you better give me the shots I fucking want. And he didn't hear. And I thought that was a really great way to kind of at least put them back on some even footing, at least briefly for a moment. I think It's hilarious. The face he makes behind the wheel with the big eyes is just now a fucking meme. Like, in this movie, it's so creepy in context. But when someone uses it on the internet as a meme, it's fucking hilarious. It's funny how stuff can be two things at once like that. And I fucking love this scene. The way it's shot, the moment you realize that it's Joe's van and that accident, the moment their eyes kind of catch each other, you realize, did this motherfucker do this on purpose? Really good stuff. Gyllenhaal's facial acting is fantastic here. I will say, Dustin, you mentioned the warning on Prime about the flashing lights. Maybe this is what they meant, because the way they decided to shoot this driving scene gave me a fucking headache. Like what the hell, man? I feel like I was getting in an accident myself, like I had whiplash. So, and there were lights flashing. I'm not prone to head stuff and seizures or anything, but I don't know, man. That was crazy shooting decision, but I still thought it was cool. It just gave me a headache. Now look at this. Brian, yet again, second week in a row, volunteering one of his mansions for a movie. I'm so proud of you. You're very philanthropic. Like, good for you, buddy. This mansion, I've been there. It's a nice house. It's not your biggest mansion that you have, but it's nice. It's very nice. Could you imagine being the first one on a scene, not being police, the first one on a scene for a murder, and you're just some sociopath with a camera? Like, that's got to be Christmas morning for this guy, right? Like, oh my God, I've hit the jackpot. And the dude got the whole thing on camera, just like insane footage, depressing, right? Especially how many times we have to watch it back as an audience. Like, how could anyone watch what the footage he took there and then decide to put it on television? Like, how fucking blood money hungry are you? It's just, now I will say, she tried to stiff him. This woman is cheaper than the Pawn Star people. Like, what the, this video is going to do a major number. You got to pay for it. You don't just get it. My man is negotiating this like it's an NIL deal, man. Like, it's like, the negotiation is insane. I love that scene. And I like that we get to see this side of Lou where he's actually not a dummy. Sometimes we watch a lot of movies where the main character makes stupid choices. Everything that Lou does, pretty much, it is calculated. So he knew exactly what this scene was going to do. He withheld footage because he knew exactly where he could take this and get more footage. Very, very well done, very well made, and excellently written on top of it.
Yeah, hearing that he still hasn't given Lou a raise, that made my blood boil. Lou's got to quit. Get out of there, bro. More of Bill Paxton's character, and I like it even less now. Bruh. Seeing him snap and break his mirror, that was great. Planting seeds that, he could lose it at any time. This guy's unstable. Then, okay. I know I didn't like his character, but I didn't want harm to find him. Now I feel bad. Bruh. Real scummy line of work that he's in here. Nothing sacred. He's trespassing just to get footage. He tampers with crime scenes. Go be a mailman or a car salesman or something, bro. Like, find a different line of work. You're a scumbag. I'm not saying mailman is scumbags. That came across wrong. At the murder scene in this house, though, proves how dumb he actually is. Like, he'd have a hard time convincing the cops that he's innocent and he wasn't involved in it. Good tension built in here. That was really well done. Nina's like a crackhead. As soon as she hears Lou has something, she changes her tone and acts like a fiend. Oh, I need it. Please give it to me. And bro had a laundry list of demands here. What a maniac. Can't believe she folded. I get that he gives good content, but read the signs, lady. He's not someone you want to be involved with. Great tension as he ramps up his intensity. This is a good set of scenes.
Yeah, I agree with you about being... I thought the same thing about being the murder, being in on it. I was like, oh shit, like they're going to arrest him just for being an accomplice. So I agree.
Nina caves and gives Lou all his demands around the station. He introduces himself to all the big wigs and anchors as he watches on gleefully at production. The graphic footage is shown on the news, and the anchors stress this horrific accident happened in a presumed very safe neighborhood. Nina coaches the anchors to keep repeating how scary the situation is, and the killers are still on the loose. Nina and Lou share eye contact, and Lou is thrilled with what's going on. Nina gets a call telling them Lou would love to meet them. Lou walks into the room telling the co-respondent he wants to talk to them, but he can't be heard. Lou watches the news as we hear a knock at the door. It's the Popo, and he lets them in after a fun exchange. They begin questioning him filming through the house, and he tells them his perspective. He tells them cautiously about the two men exiting the house and the dark SUV that fled away. He gives them a copy of the footage and watches them walk away. He reviews the tape and gets still images of the killer's face and looks up their license plates. Lou picks Rick up and tells him he thinks he knows who the killer was and they're going to go confirm. He'll call the cops when the opportunity is right. He pulls over and pitches Rick on a new opportunity within the company. He compliments his work improvement and enthusiasm. He promotes Rick to Assistant Vice President of Video News. Rick asks about a raise and asks how much. Lou tells him to pick a number, and he stammers $100, but folds and says $75 a night, and they agree. Poor Rick realizes he could have gotten more and realizes play as fuck up. They make it to the killer's address and find the car. Lou reveals there's a $50,000 reward, and Rick asks about getting any of the money, but he's shot down. Rick firmly says he wants more money after hearing of the nature of this nasty situation. Lou tells him they both have choices. Rick tells Lou he'll snitch if he's not given more money. He says he wants half, and Lou accepts. Rick says he feels good about that, and he'll go the extra mile, and he needs to talk to people like human beings. You don't understand people, and Lou nods at him. Lou takes the first watch of the driver of the car, and we got action. Lou follows the Escalade stealthily. Rick is terrified with how close they are to them, and Lou doesn't care. He's locked the fuck in. The Escalade driver picks up another person, and Lou continues following. Lou parks across from the Chinese restaurant, and the killers go in, and he calls the police on the whereabouts they are and describes them. Lou says he must go and hangs up. Brian, that's the next set of scenes. What'd you think?
This entire news broadcast segment where you see the news broadcast in its entirety, I'm locked in. I'm almost forgetting to take any notes because it's such a compelling watch. I'm like experiencing this with Lou. It's so fantastically done. Truthfully, at this point, I can't remember the last time that I was this locked into a movie. So locked in fact, I noticed right at 1:22:05 when Lou is picking up Rick, his window is rolled up. But when he gets in the car, it's down. But I laughed at their conversation in the car. I mean, Lou is gaslighting the fuck out of him. And you're promoted to vice president. What am I now? I don't know. I laughed a lot at that. And then the raise conversation with Rick, man said, 75, and then instantly regrets it. And I could have gotten more, couldn't I? Absolutely. I laughed. I honestly can't be the only one, though, that thought once Rick started pushing and got that half of the reward money and saying that he did, saying what he did to calling Lou out on his shit. Honestly, I thought, okay, well, he's going to kill this motherfucker now. So I thought the same thing Dustin thought at the very start of it when they first met, like when he first questioned him. If I were Rick, I definitely wouldn't feel good about going to sleep right then. Sheesh. And I was laughing like they don't even have tint on their windows. And it's obvious as fuck as this car is like sitting on the road when they're trailing these guys. But holy shit, I mean, we're about to get deep into it here next set.
Literally, I've already touched on it, but I literally felt sick to my stomach, rewatching them play this on TV, because in that moment I could put myself in the role of a viewer of that television broadcast. Like, oh my God. And again, when we see it fiction, we're numb to it. We do a horror movie podcast, like, occasionally a kill gets us, but like not normally. This is supposed to be taken as real, and given that it felt like I was watching something I should not have seen. I should not have been watching. So fucking creepy. I do like that, of course, the police show up at his door the next day. Well, no shit, man. Like, you just aired basically a snuff film on TV. Like, yeah, man, what's going on here? How did you get that? Who are you? What the fuck are you doing here? This is a murder. But kind of, you can tell he'd already thought of it. He'd already planned ahead of what would happen if police came knocking for that video. Thought that was interesting. Shows us he's a little bit smarter and on his P's and Q's than maybe I was giving him credit for. I will say, if I'm Rick, I'm running. Man, this is not like Wolf of Wall Street crime where you stay because it's fun and you're having a great time and let the chips fall where they may. This is murder. This would not be worth going down with the ship. This is completely different than, staying in stock fraud and tax fraud and stuff. Like, yeah, that sucks and you're an international criminal, but like, it's not the same stuff, man. This is not worth going down for $30 a night. And I don't know if Rick understands this, but he was negotiating like he was the ACC or the rest of the ACC. Forrest State comes saying, we want more money. Great, here's more money. The rest says, yeah, you can have more money. Yeah, you probably could have gotten more, Forrest State Clemson, so just throwing that out there. The rest of the ACC, you definitely could have got more. I would have told us to screw off. You didn't. So that's Rick. Rick is John Swafford right here, buddy. Or who's the guy now? I don't even remember the guy in charge anymore. I'm running out of names. Okay. I would have told Rick to kick rocks, though, if I were Lou. Right? Like, again, I think it's part of a plan, obviously, but I would have been able to do this on my own. He was basically doing it on his own anyway. So normally I would be annoyed with how long we're following these guys, but not this time. It does a great job building tension and suspense. I don't know why I wrote tension and suspension, because that's not what I was looking for. The way he kind of used this cop, he used his cop call to sound like a little bitch, like a worried, scared citizen. It's so maniacal. It's evil, the way he plays this character. It's awful. And the last thing I have here, he's almost just as bad as the people that actually shoot the people, that actually commit the murder, because he doesn't give a fuck about anybody involved. He's just there to get a shot. And I think that's just as evil as someone that is doing the actual crime.
Yeah, very eerie and uncomfortable watching the footage being played on the news. Just feels like we're seeing something we shouldn't be seeing. Like you said, Mike, like we're watching a snuff film. Like, we shouldn't be watching this. I do love seeing the behind the scenes stuff at the news station. That's the nerd me, I guess. But like seeing how the sausage is made is cool in that regard. Gyllenhaal does a great job showing his excitement and satisfaction for having his stuff air and get the credit. Like, I thought that his facial expressions were great. Big eye opener when he withheld evidence from the cops. Like, he lied about what he saw and when he started filming. I got Icarus vibes here. Man wants the suspect to remain at large so he can, has more potential to get more stories. Flying too close to the sun, brother. I wish that would have played out better. And I'll get into that in the ending of the movie. I laughed when Rick asked for $75 a night and then asked for more, and Lou said, "Not now, we closed the deal." Like you said, that was hilarious. And so was when he told Rick, it was funny too when Lou told Rick, "I just gave you a raise," after telling me he's getting $50,000 for this. Good for Rick for standing up for himself and demanding half the money for half the work. But knowing what we know now, I fear for Rick, and my fears were warranted. Tension picked up a lot here towards the end, ready to see where we go.
They turn the radio on, waiting for the police to arrive. Rick is told to go down the street and get another angle, but he says, fuck that, he's not doing it. Lou tells Rick he's making a mistake. Lou tells Rick he doesn't like people. It's not he doesn't understand them, which I can get down with that to a certain point. Rick caves after Lou's threats and goes down the street to get another angle shot. The police arrive to the restaurant as Lou watches on closely. The two men inside grow wary as Rick grows more nervous as more police arrive. Shots fire in the restaurant as the man with a scratched-up face is blasted through the window and drives away. Chase scene ensues and Lou follows, ordering Rick to film the chase. They run through red lights, weave through traffic, witnessing wrecks to get the footage. Another cop car appears, cutting the Escalade off, but they both wreck and flip over. Lou stops swiftly, fishtailing, and goes to check out the Escalade. He tells Rick he's dead and to get the shot. Rick exits the car, camera in hand, but to his surprise, the driver isn't dead. The driver gets his gun out and opens fire on Rick. The killer breaks out as Lou keeps filming. More police arrive and they gun the killer down. Lou goes over to Rick, who's still alive and barely breathing, just praying to a God that he don't believe in. Rick knows Lou knew he was still alive. Lou tells him he can't jeopardize his company with an unloyal employee. You took my bargaining power and would have done it again as he watches him die. Lou takes his camera from Rick's corpse and makes it to KWLA. He walks nonchalantly through the office, greeting everyone, giving us one of the most famous gifts out there. Nina watches the footage and realizes that was his employee. She calls the footage amazing and thanks him for bringing it to her. Lou has all the power now, and Lou names his price. This girl is quivering for this man now. The detectives want the footage, but Nina isn't giving it up. She has them talk to Lou directly as Frank tells her of a drug bust in the home. She says, give it to the Noon Crew. That story isn't good enough anymore. All right, Brian's next set of scenes, and the next is the ending. Go ahead.
Yeah, this diner scene's fantastic. I mean, it's tension-filled, perfectly done. The music cue building up on the gunfight, spot on. In fact, this whole scene here when they were filming it, saw competing opinions from film's technical police advisors. One said the police would wait for backup and enter in a line, gun ready. But another recalled that when he was a street cop, he and his partner would enter the establishment and order at the counter as a way of vetting the veracity of the call. They went with the latter as it aided the suspense better. And I thought that was a great choice. Then this fucking car chase scene, like, I'm pretty sure I read, and I may be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure I read where Jake did all his own car stunts. Don't quote me on that, but I thought I read that somewhere, and that's fucking awesome. Especially after now watching the movie and seeing the fucking car stunts. That's crazy. I also saw where they closed down 10 blocks of Laurel Boulevard for a few nights to capture the police chase. And listen, if you know anything about Laurel Boulevard, you'd know more than me because I have no fucking clue, but I'm sure it's busy. It's LA. But holy shit, when Lou sets Rick up to be killed, like knowing old dude was not dead, honestly, I just kept thinking, like, this is super obvious what you've done to get these shots. Like, no way you're getting away with this. But again, I got to remember, like, this isn't someone who thinks like you or I. I mean, he's just wired differently. And I mean, you can see it just in the responses when Lou is talking to Rick as he's dying. You know, and that scene is really what stuck with me, I think, the first time I watched this more than any of them. It's definitely the most memorable set of scenes in the movie for me and the best.
Yeah, Rick, get out of there. You are fucked. Have you guys ever seen the Spooby skit? The fuck you, Spooby. You ever seen that? That's what I thought. That's what I thought of. T-Rexy, get out of there. That's poor Rick. He never had a shot. We all knew what he was being set up for, man. Again, I will say this. As against this as I am, here I am watching it and wanting to see what happens next. And I'm doing that through the lens of Lou's camera. It's kind of conflicting, right? It's like, again, you almost want him to get the shot he's looking for so you can see what happens next. And so, again, very conflicting. I will say, just given how it felt the rest of the movie, I love this car chase. You know, I normally don't like a long car chase, but it was appropriately timed, and Lou has finally lost it. That look in his eyes is wild. So wild. The man is getting his shots, but at what cost? All the chaos that he's caused along the way is crazy, and you could just tell he never gave two shits about Rick. Just a truly sick fuck in the head. Like, it was all going to end this way for Rick at some point. He was going to get shot because he's a sacrificial lamb. He talked him into it. Again, there's another GIF meme moment with the point and smile from this movie that I used to use quite a bit. Again, when you're using these, you almost forget where they come from, and then you see it out in the wild. It's interesting because in this shot, it's really creepy. He feels this sense of joy and pride from what he's just done, and he shouldn't, but he does because he's wired differently, like you mentioned, Brian. You know what's kind of insane, though, fellas? He did it for power. He did it to be successful, but he 100% did it to get pussy. Am I wrong about this? Like, this is the way that Nina acts towards him in this movie is insane. Or like in this scene, it's like she's turned on by this. Like, man, insane behavior all the way around. I have no other words for it. It is insane. Again, she is deep in love now. If she wasn't before, like, I don't care what anybody says. This was the shots that she had been wanting, and boy, he delivered them. So, okay, I guess he's going to end up getting almost, I mean, he kind of does. He gets everything he wants, and we're about to talk about it in the closing set, but everything comes up Lou. So, okay.
Really psycho stuff here with how calmly Lou threatens Rick. No emotions, just matter of fact, like that's creepy. Great tension when the cops show up, and the score had a lot to do with it. And it was nuts. Gunfire, car chase, good stuff. Lou is a maniac, though. He was way too close to the suspects before the showdown with the cops, and then following them at 100 miles an hour, just insane. Even more insane, getting out of the car to approach the Rick. Hasn't he seen how Rick got shot in the Walking Dead? Just because they wreck doesn't mean it's safe. And Rick gets shot, just like in The Walking Dead, except for he dies. Senseless tragedy. Not buying that Lou didn't get shot, though. Like, as soon as that guy got out of the car, he would have smoked Lou. Then Lou just filmed Rick and admitted to setting him up. What a dirtbag. I did the Leo pointing gif from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when Gyllenhaal pointed to Ben. Never knew that's where that gif came from until watching this movie. Nice. Very strange and awkwardly sexual tension between Lou and Nina. How much do you want it? No need for that scene to be like that, in my opinion. Like, I know it's implied that they did the deed or whatever, but it felt weird. I'm ready for the finish.
And here we go. Lou is interrogated by the detectives and is made aware he's being filmed and recorded. He tells his story of what happened. He believes the men saw his footage and were after him, but she doesn't believe him and thinks he withheld evidence. He claps back and she gets angry. He says it's his job. Rick died doing what he loved. Lou leaves, sunglasses and watch on from the precinct. He hears a call and goes to his vehicle smooth as a cucumber. He congratulates his 3 new employees and gives them all the spiel that they can make it full-time through the internship. And I love this line at the very end. Just remember, I will never ask you to do something I wouldn't do myself. They all get in their vans and get to work. No soft hands around here. Brian, what you think? You got soft hands, brother. You got soft hands.
Yeah, so this interrogation scene, I thought it was fantastic acting. I love the shot through the security camera. Was it just me, or was there a little piano cue when he exited the police station that sounded like Mad World from Donnie Darko there a little bit? I don't know. I picked up on that. Hopefully it was a nod. Otherwise, it was a great coincidence. Anyway, I don't have a lot on this set of scenes. Just great movie, great ending.
Yeah, it would be hard to have a lot. It's only like 9 minutes. It's only like 9 minutes of screen time. So, I don't know. I got to that part and I'm like, man, that's pretty fun. This is its own set, but I understand why you did it, brother. I do. I actually really love this interrogation scene a lot because this woman is trying to act like a hard ass and it means nothing. He has them. Everything's coming up blue. He took precautionary measures, psycho measures, but he did. He knew exactly which ways to avert the law, and he won. He covered his tracks. There's not a whole lot they can do about it. Anything they have on him is circumstantial about withholding evidence. Prove it. So I thought that was really well done. Just that last kind of evil jab of him. And then, of course, his company got bigger. He was able to hire more people. So again, a movie where the bad guy wins is not something we cover too often here. I thought it was a good writing choice.
Lou's story, well thought out, good stuff. He covered all his bases, so it seems at least. But she's got him figured out. Good close up of the watch that he stole earlier as he walks down the sidewalk. I love a good callback. But next we see that he's hiring a whole crew and has 2 vans. Man's really moving up in the world. But the ending left a sour taste in my mouth. Like, he just got off scot-free. The investigation went nowhere and we didn't even see. Okay, I guess. I mean, I would have liked it. Maybe they find the footage where he recorded that he didn't turn into the police station. Maybe they question him more. Maybe he went through further scrutiny for withholding information. I don't know. I guess I wanted more from that ending, but it's still a very solid movie.
All right, let's jump into our social media comments and questions. I'll knock out the gram first. We only got one comment from one of our biggest fans, Sean the Glee Man. This is one of Jake's best movies and is a heck of a ride for what a POS piece of shit character his is. Yeah, Jake is definitely a piece of shit in this movie. Does a good job, though.
Mm-hmm. I've got X pulled up. We only have one, and it's from Cousin Vinny. So he's already got a shout out on the show. Now he's commented. He said, great movie with the gif of Gyllenhaal breaking the mirror.
I know he'll listen.
None on the Book of Faces.
Sounds good.
Go ahead, drop your fun fact.
So it's based partially on the career of Arthur Feilig, the first photojournalist who is well known for reaching crime scenes quickly by tuning into police radio broadcasts.
I've got a few. Gyllenhaal lost 20 pounds for this role. It was Gyllenhaal's own idea as he visualized Lou as a hungry coyote, and he basically ate only salads and ran like 15 miles a day. Insane. Dan Gilroy considered a backstory that would help explain how Lou became the immoral and damaged survivor that he was in the film, but it was cut because he didn't want to either spend a lot of time on Lou's origin or make him very sympathetic. Nearly a quarter of the budget, which Mike will get into, came from a California tax credit. So,
of course it did.
Jake Gyllenhaal did most of his own driving scenes, including the climactic car chase at the end. That's impressive. That's cool. And then the last one I've got is that the late, great Bill Paxton, even though I didn't love him in this movie, he was in Frank and Jesse with David Arquette.
Easy one, buddy. Easy one. It's funny you mentioned that about the tax credit because this movie was made for beans, really. The budget was $8.5 million. And depending on where you look, it grossed anywhere from $47.4 to $50.3 million against that budget. So makes me wonder, I mean, Gyllenhaal must not have taken a big salary for this movie. I mean, what, maybe $1 million or $2 million? Like, I mean, that's pretty crazy.
I would like to talk to, like, next time we have a director on or something.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to ask them about, like, how that budget works. Does that cover, like, the salaries? Does that cover just making the movie?
True.
Like I genuinely want to know that kind of stuff. We got to ask the next director we do that with. I also saw, like, conflicting reports on the amount of weight he lost. I just want to touch on that. I saw on IMDb it was 20 pounds, but, like, there's that YouTube short of him being interviewed by Howard Stern, and he said 35 pounds. But it's a very noticeable weight loss transformation. It's not to the extent of, like, Christian Bale in The Machinist or Matthew McConaughey in Dallas Buyers Club, but it's very noticeable, and I think he did fantastic with the body transformation.
Yeah, but
we can jump into
Jake has done this multiple times. He's beefed up, lost. Like, him and Christian Bale are going to have fucked up bodies later on in life, dude. Like, it's not going to be good. They've done it too many times back and forth. Good luck.
Yeah, that's got to be tough on them. Well, let's jump to our favorite kill, least favorite kill in the rating. I'll kick us off. I know there are kills in the movie, but I didn't pick any this week. Maybe I'm getting lazy, but I didn't pick any. It's not really about that. It's just about the, Luke Bloom's character. I think the movie is great. I've been sitting on this pick for a while. I'm glad Mike picked Thriller Month, just so kind of gave me a reason to pick the movie finally. I gave the movie a 9.5. I want to go 10, but it's just not really a super enjoyable movie to watch because Lou is such a fucking prick. Shout out to Aaron Cabrera for the prick word. But I give it a 9.5. I think it's a really good movie. Great performance. I would say it's probably easily top 5 male acting performance we've had on the show with Jack Torrance, Christian Bale, Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse. It's top 5 easily. It's up there. Whoever wants to go next. Hey, you can say what you want about the movie, but his acting performance is incredible.
No, he's
Y'all
great.
go ahead.
No, he's great. He's great.
All right, I'll go ahead and knock out mine. I did pick kills. Favorite kill was Rick. He didn't deserve it, but it was shocking, and it showed how sociopathic Lou was. Least favorite kill was the guy whose watch he stole. It was off screen, and we don't really know if he died. I'm just assuming, so I went with that one. As far as my final thoughts in the rating, it's a great concept. Like I said, it has solid tension. It's well made, and Gyllenhaal is great in it. I did have my issues with it, though, that I mentioned throughout the review. All in all, I gave it an 8.
Okay, I'll go ahead and go. I didn't pick kills just because, again, not the movie about that. But if I did, my favorite and least favorite would both be Rick, because I love the way it was executed on screen, but also didn't want Rick to die, man. I wanted him to get out, run for your life, get some help, as Dave Chappelle would say. Or that may be Donnell Rawlings. I can't remember who said it. Anyway, yeah, great movie. I kind of mentioned it. It is a Jake Gyllenhaal-centric film. It's not quite a one-character movie, but he's kind of all that really matters throughout the movie if you're really paying attention. Again, I think it's excellently written, great character acting, and I love the way it's shot. Very unique in the way it's shot. You mentioned the city of LA was the perfect backdrop for it. Again, all in all, really good. I had a few nitpicks, but nothing too major. Gave it an 8.75.
Yeah, it's a movie about, like, how far would you go for success? And again, just different people being wired differently. Most of all, I mean, you couple that with mental issues and there's no limit. Again, this stuck with me and deserves, in my opinion, to be mentioned right alongside Patrick Bateman. Although I probably think this movie, the way that y'all did about American Psycho, I love it. I gave it a flat 9.
All right. So that gives us a composite score of an 8.8125. IMDb has it as 7.8. Rotten Tomatoes, 95%. Letterboxd, yeah, I got it right. They gave it a 4. I gave it an 8 on here, a 4 on Letterboxd, so I'm right.
All right. I'm glad everyone liked the movie. I'm going to shout out our blood donors. Then, Dustin, you can announce your pick for next week. We appreciate all of our blood donors. We've done quite a few giveaways. I got some more DVDs and Blu-rays to give away, so we'll be doing that pretty soon. But blood donors, we appreciate y'all. Camper Level Reoccurring, Nina, the Horror Movie Crew Podcast, Michelle Mirza, Chris Manley, and Steve Schmidt. Camp Counselor Reoccurring, Edward Hernandez-Gunn, Joe Swinford, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Brooke Maley, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer Davis from the Too Close to Home Pod, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, Max K, Madison Arzola, and a new camp counselor, the blood donor, Case Smith. We appreciate y'all. It really does help us out a lot. Dustin, you want to announce your pick for next week?
Yeah, so with the recent passing of David Lynch, He passed away about 6 weeks ago. I wanted to do a movie that I see all the time when they interview celebrities on the red carpet for their Letterboxd top 4. This movie comes up a lot, and I'd never seen it, but it's one that I wanted to get to, and it fits the theme perfectly from what I've read. So I went with 1986's Blue Velvet. Shout out to David Lynch.
I'm excited. Never seen it. Let's go.
Yeah, I haven't seen any David Lynch films, so I'm excited to see. I mean, he gets a lot of praise, and I know he's kind of abstract and unique, so I'm excited to check those out. We appreciate y'all tuning in. We're exhausted. We've been podcasting for over 4 hours now. I'm ready to go. Just know that I wouldn't ask you to do anything I wouldn't do myself. Y'all have a good one.
A professional podcasting service.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody,